Welcome to the Emily the Mystic Show. You're about to walk through a portal that leads to all things mystical, magical, spiritual, and supernatural. I'm your host, Emily. I'm a spiritual mentor, an Akashic Records practitioner and teacher, an intuition development coach, and a galactic channeler. If you're an old soul on a self-discovery and healing journey, you are in the right place. We'll be diving in deep to some of my favorite mystical topics, including manifestation, past lives, the spirit world, energy, and so much more. Get ready to embrace your inner mystic and live your most authentic life possible. The portal is now open.
And the portal has opened today to a conversation about the month of April. I am so excited, as always, to dive into your energy forecast podcast episode of the month, where you'll be learning everything that you need to know about what to expect during the course of the month ahead. I hope that you enjoy these monthly energy forecasts as much as I do, because the purpose and intention of them is always to empower you, to help you see, okay, here are some of the things that Emily's noticing that could be going on in terms of the collective, or even some things that may be popping up in my personal life. And here's what I can do to help make the most of this energy for myself, and perhaps maybe plan my schedule or my projects or my travels in a certain way in order to be accommodating to the energetic forecast. So I hope that you, as always, enjoy it. For those of you who are watching on YouTube, you get the pleasure today of not just seeing the video, but seeing me present some of the cards that I pulled for the month ahead. And if you so desire, after listening to this episode and want to leave a comment on the video, I always appreciate hearing your thoughts and learning whether or not this energy forecast is resonating with you. So as always, with all channeled information, take what resonates with you and leave the rest. I think I've explained to you how these work in the past couple of episodes, but just in case you're new here, I'm an Akashic Records expert, practitioner, and teacher. And what I do is I go into the Akashic Records ahead of the month and do what I can to channel information about the energetics and the way that the calendar itself is sort of going to fall during the course of the month. So again, you can know what to expect. And I find it really helpful to sort of tune into these energies, because sometimes we have a month that comes along, like the month of April, where there's a lot going on. And if we can prepare ourselves mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, all of the things, we can surrender a little bit more when things start to unfold and when things start to shift. So with that in mind, April is one of perhaps the most intensive months that we are going to have throughout the course of 2024. It is very much going to be, again, it is an intensive, it is a short window of time, this 30-day month, where there's going to be a lot of things happening. And one thing is for sure, you are not going to be the same person that you are today listening to this podcast that you are at the end of the month. Perhaps when we finally get to the May forecast during the month of May, you are going to be a totally different person, different version of you. And that's exciting. It's a good thing. So the energy of this month is highly transformational and it's highly intensive. So you're going to be on the words that are coming to mind for me right now as I'm sort of channeling and in the energy of this podcast episode, you are really going to be sort of pushed into a bit of a pressure cooker of transformation in a good way. It's sort of like, as we know, the way that a diamond is formed is when there's so much pressure, high intensity pressure being pushed on, some dirt and dust. It eventually turns into a diamond. Very much similar for you as what you may be going through throughout the course of this month. So I want you to see yourself as being this beautiful sort of diamond in this cocoon that is your life, that is very much having and going through different things in your life that are going to help you shine a bit more and help you kind of come out of that dusty shell by the end of the month, feeling a lighter and perhaps brighter, shinier version of you. So all of this is, of course, as we like to say, happening for your highest and greatest good. What does that mean? Basically, it means that this is happening in accordance to divine plan, divine will, in accordance with how your higher self knows that what is best for you and what you know is best for you. The actions and things that are going to be happening and events that happen and unfold throughout the course of this month are really going to encourage you to meet yourself in a deeper way, to go into the depths of the transformation that needs to occur for you, and to come out on the other side, again, feeling a lot lighter, feeling a lot brighter. I mean, really, overall, by the end of the month, I have the Empress card here. This is how you're going to be feeling. You're going to be tapping into your Empress energy. You're going to be sitting on your throne by the end of this month. You're going to be perhaps feeling more confident or more empowered, more inspired, more like yourself, but even then, a more confident, more assertive, more excited, more aligned version of you by the end of this month. But it is going to take us some time and some different things that we're going to have to go through as a collective together in order to be able to get there. So, the overall energy of this month, I am really reading it as this King of Wands energy. We are seeing now, as we are deep in the depths of eclipse season, as I am filming this video, we are really seeing that the eclipses are pushing us into a more stable, more confident, more, again, assertive version of you who is more confident sitting on your throne, more direct in your endeavors, your projects and goals, and ready to take action on some of those things in order to reap the rewards of them. So as I was tuning into what my spirit guide team, what the Akashic Record Keepers need us to know as things unfold this month, as we go through eclipse season, as we go through the rest of April, they really want you to focus on the themes of commitment and consistency. Commitment and consistency. Because here's the thing, with the planetary alignments this month being somewhat volatile, with them being somewhat temperamental and a little bit intense in the way that they are kind of activating our planet, it may feel like there are a million things happening around you all at once. And if that's the case, what you really need to focus on are, okay, I am so dedicated to myself, to my journey, to these goals that I have, whether that is a job, a project, a relationship goal, focusing on yourself, your health, maybe a health journey that you're going on, maybe a spiritual course that you're taking, whatever it is, that you are, no matter what happens in the world, you are focusing on yourself and you're prioritizing yourself and your goals. You're really going to need to commit to them this month, because the way that the energy is, the way that I'm being shown is that if things start to pull you off center, that's where your month could get derailed. But if you're listening to this episode and you're leading from a place of, I am going to commit to myself and my goals and my dreams this month, and I'm going to stay consistent no matter what happens. I'm going to do my best no matter what. I'm going to believe in myself no matter what. You're going to emerge on the other side of this month feeling so much brighter and, better and more aligned for it. So I really need you to take some time as we start the beginning of the month of April to really tune into what those goals and dreams are for you. We've been talking about this for a while now, how some of the energies that have been unfolding for us, we're in a new astrological year with the start of Aries season in the spring equinox. And that's really directing us to have a focus on something that we really want to have expand in our lives. And it's possible that you may be in a little bit of a liminal space right now. Maybe you're not really working on anything in particular, or you're not really focused on anything. Still, what you can do is stay committed to yourself and committed to your well-being, maybe your health, and knowing that if I am maintaining that commitment to myself, no matter what, if something shakes me off center, I can always, if I'm maintaining that commitment, come back to myself at the end of the day. That's really what they want you to focus on, is staying grounded and staying committed to yourself and your process and your journey and wherever it begins to take you throughout the course of this month, because there are going to be things that want to pull you off center. And that's what we're really going to be talking about today. So, in terms of some major planetary events and things happening this month, on April 1st, we go right into a Mercury retrograde, which is not an ideal way to start a month. And I am not one to tell you to go ahead and forget about Mercury retrograde and pretend like it doesn't exist, because it's not going to do anything. And I'm also not one to tell you that Mercury retrograde is going to make your life horrible and it's something to fear and it's going to be really challenging. I think we need to find a healthy medium when it comes to Mercury retrograde and any astrological alignment, that there is going to be perhaps a little bit of a slowdown, or things may not fall into place as easily as they normally could, or perhaps you're just seeing some delays, or you're feeling frustrated because the puzzle pieces aren't clicking into place as quickly as you thought that they could. That Mercury retrograde for all of us is always an invitation to slow down. And what can we do when we slow down? It's an opportunity for us to continue to be committed and consistent when it comes to prioritizing yourself, your life, your goals, your dreams, whatever they are. I guarantee you already know, as you're listening to this episode, what it is that you need to be committed to. Maybe it's your personal journey. Maybe you've recently left a relationship and you need to be committed to yourself. Maybe you have stepped into a new relationship and you need to be committed to that person. Maybe you have decided to launch your business and you need to be committed to your business. Maybe you have decided to start a new course offering and you need to be committed to staying on track with that course. Or a health adventure, health journey, where you're committed to staying on track with your health goals. All of these are really great examples of when we are committed to something without a shadow of a doubt. When things start to get in the way, like a Mercury retrograde, we will, and no matter what tries to steer us off course, like a strong palm tree in a Florida storm, we are not going to move. We may sway with the wind, but we are not going to get off course. So allow yourself to really be committed to you this month and watch as the world changes around you. So with that in mind, we have a really intense eclipse happening on April 8th. This eclipse is a solar eclipse happening during the sign of Aries, during Aries season. So this eclipse also has a path of totality through the United States. So for those of us who live in the United States, I have a lot of clients, people in my audience who listen to this podcast who live in the United States. We may be feeling this eclipse energy a bit intensely here. And so with that in mind, I really want you to stay focused on yourself and, again, your goals and your commitments and things, no matter what is going on with that eclipse. Because the eclipse itself, the way that the energy is being shown to me is a bit volatile. And I am doing my best to try to interpret in terms of physical things that could happen or things that we could see being uncovered throughout the course of this month. So I'm going to tap into a few of those things with you. But there may be this sort of overall energy of intensity, this 7 of Wands energy, this sort of fighting against all of this stuff that's sort of happening around us. And I really do feel like, okay, so I'm gonna show you some other cards here that I pulled. So we also have this Devil energy coupled with the King of Pentacles energy. So this is a really interesting sort of combination for me and a really interesting sort of energy to tune into. I really feel like this solar eclipse that's happening on April 8th is going to unlock some turbulent things that may be happening in the United States around issues of politics perhaps issues of race and diversity, perhaps issues of economic challenges that may divide groups of people and may create some conflict and some challenges that you may have to navigate in your own life, or at least see unfold in the on the world stage, especially when it comes to TV and the media. This devil card can sometimes represent bad habits. So for some of you, this may be referring to letting go of habits or behaviors or patterns that are no longer serving you. There may be, and what's coming through for me right now as I'm channeling this and talking about it, for some of you, a small percentage of you, there may be some bad habits that you're engaging in that are just going to get totally pulled away from you, whether that be drinking too much or indulging in substances that are not for your highest good, or maybe sleeping too much, or I'm just coming up with some examples here. Drinking too much caffeine, doing things that are, and especially workaholism is a big one that comes to mind, working yourself to the bone, doing too much. This devil card is coming in to kind of remind us of some of those bad habits and things that may not be of service to us, especially as we are staying committed to our goals. So we may find that we need to really let go of some big patterns and habits this month that are not serving us. But I also feel, for me, the devil can also represent things are not what they seem. I would not be surprised if things happen throughout the course of this month, especially with regard to the news in the United States, where we're being shown something on TV and it seems fishy or it seems odd or it doesn't seem real is the best way that I can say it. And that may even be a matter of politics, because this did come out with the King of Pentacles, and this King of Pentacles card can remind me of people in power. Not saying specifically who, because I don't know. But when these cards are coming out together, this reminds me of like, okay, authority, people in power, things going on here, especially in the US, and things not being quite what they seem. I'm getting the chills as I say that. There just seems to be a little bit of a mismatch in what's being shown to us versus what is actually happening out there. And I feel like part of this eclipse energy too, the way that it's rippling out into the collective, is a lot of us are waking up and are seeing what is actually happening out there in the world and what we're being shown on TV. And we're saying like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Like, what are you talking about? What we're being, these lies that we're being told are not true, or whatever it is that's coming out in the media. We may be more discerning about it and realizing like, oh, that doesn't feel good to me, or that doesn't feel like my truth, or that doesn't feel like a narrative that I want to be a part of, and are going to be more aware of that. So I do feel like this April 8th eclipse energy is going to bring about a massive awakening on some level. So for you that may be becoming more aware of subconscious things, maybe diving into your shadow throughout the course of this month and becoming more aware of patterns or things that are no longer serving you. But I also feel at a collective level, we're going to be starting to stand up for that divisiveness, we may be starting to stand up for injustices that we know are wrong, that are not okay, that are not good for the world, that are not good for humanity. And we may be seeing more people step forward and speak their truth about big issues, and see some level of engagement from regular humans like you and me who are doing what they can to speak their truth when things, again, are being shown to us that just don't seem right or don't seem accurate, or that are not for the highest and best good of humanity. So really just be discerning this month, and be discerning with the people in your life. That's been a big message for me over the last month and a half, is really being discerning about, are these people going to help me, support me, get to where I want to go? Or were they people that helped me to get to where I am now, and they may not be able to help me get to where I need to go next? And do I need to let go of people, relationships, etc., that are not supportive of who I want to be next, so that I can create space for people that may be a better fit in terms of relationships, friendships, etc. So that may be something that is coming up for you as well. And there's this message of like really being discerning with your time, with your energy. Again, if you're fully committing to yourself this month and your goals, then knowing that there will be people that are going to be removed from your path. There will be opportunities that you thought maybe in March would be a good fit for you, but now it's April and you're realizing, this doesn't really feel so good for me after all. So, really being discerning with what is coming up for you and observing and asking yourself if I am, again, being consistent and committed towards what I want, does this help me? Does this serve me? Or does this get in my way? Now, with all of that being said, I also have the Temperance card here, which is a card of moderation and balance. So, as I'm filming this, we're currently going through the March 25th eclipse in the sign of Libra. Libra is all about balance and harmony, especially when it comes to our relationships. And I really feel like that theme is going to carry into the month of April with us being called to really be in balance with our lives in general. So, this is calling us to avoid that workaholism, like I was saying earlier, to avoid burning the candle at both ends or doing too much, or maybe you're on a health journey. Maybe your calories are too low. Maybe you need to start eating more food, for example. Or maybe you are focusing too much of your time on the wrong things that are not actually paying off. Or maybe you're spending too much time with certain groups of people and you're letting other friendships fall by the wayside, and you need to balance your time a bit more evenly. So, this is really asking you to put your life into better balance and harmony, because no matter what goes on this month, you will, by the end of the month, feel so much more stable and grounded and centered because of it. Now, what I'm being shown as we get to the end of the month, they were really highlighting the day April 22nd. So I took a look to see if there were any major planetary alignments, just astrological alignments and so forth happening on the 22nd. There aren't. So what I want to say is that as we enter into, I believe that's the third week of April, you're going to start to feel like all of the changes that you went through, all of the craziness that's happening during the eclipse season is starting to be integrated. You're going to start to feel more settled in it. So by the end of the month, we're going to go through kind of this like short and dirty, hot and heavy, really sort of crazy first couple of weeks of the month. By the end of the month, things are going to stabilize. They're going to start to feel more grounded. You're going to start to feel more grounded and centered. And you'll start to feel like things are starting to integrate. The changes that you knew you needed to make, maybe you're starting to make them. You're starting to actually gain the reward of making those changes. And by the end of the month, when Mercury leaves retrograde, when we have a really powerful full moon in the sign of Scorpio on April 23rd, you're going to really start to see these things kind of come into fruition. And that's going to be a really beautiful thing, because you're going to start to feel like, okay, I was committed to myself. I followed the guidance from Emily's podcast. I was committed to myself. I stayed consistent. I did the best that I could to keep my life in balance, to maintain some sense of temperance, moderation in my life. I really focused on myself. I really put myself into that Empress, that Queen energy. And I really feel like I'm starting to see that all kind of come together. So by the end of this month, I feel like things are going to start to, at the beginning of April, are going to start to feel kind of separate, kind of split apart. All of these different, maybe like pieces of you or things that you've going on kind of feel scattered and all over the place. But as we find what we're committing to, as we bring ourselves back to center, as we really keep ourselves in balance, you're going to feel really well-rounded by the end of this month, and really just, again, grounded and centered in who you are and where you're going. Because April, at the end of April and the beginning of May is going to be such an abundant month. May and June, things are really going to start to feel like they're lightening up, they're lifting up. So this intensity that we're going through is not going to last forever. And it may feel like, again, there's this pressure cooker of sorts, this quick and dirty in and out transformation, this intensive, as if you're taking an intensive college class. And oh my gosh, you're being forced to learn all of this information and do all of these projects in a 6-week span of time, a really short period of time. And oh, wow, this is intense. But if I stay committed towards that college class, if I stay consistent with doing my work and I really make sure to keep the rest of my life in balance, guess what? I'm going to leave that college class, maybe with great grades, maybe feeling like I learned a lot, and I'm going to feel really accomplished and proud of myself. And that's what your guides want you to focus on this month. That's what they want you to do. They're showing me too, when I was sitting down to channel this a few days ago, one of the visuals that they showed me that I found was really interesting was this Chutes and Ladders type of energy. If you played the game Chutes and Ladders when you were a kid, you will know that you may spin the wheel and you go up a ladder for a certain number of steps. And then maybe on your next turn, you have to take the slide down and it takes you back a few steps, right? So this game of like going up ladders, but then taking these slides back down and feeling like, okay, I'm gaining some momentum, but then it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back. That is sort of the energy of the first couple of weeks of April. And I'm not saying that to scare you or worry you because it's all for your highest good. It's all unfolding as it needs to. You are on a divine timeline right now, right? So don't worry about the rest. But if you were to know that you may feel like, wow, I'm gaining traction and then things slow down and then I need to have patience and it's not exactly happening as smoothly as I thought it would, what if you were to know that that's how it's meant to be happening? And if it's happening that way, and if you stay committed and if you stay consistent, you would actually reap the rewards of what you are meant to receive. Maybe it's getting to the end of the game of Chutes and Ladders, or maybe for you, it's reaching a big goal that you've set for yourself for a long time. The more you can stay consistent and committed, the more you're going to feel well-rounded and nourished and centered when it comes to the end of this month. And you'll look back with time and you'll be so proud of yourself thinking, wow, I made it through eclipse season. I'm so proud that I did the work. I'm so proud that I focused on me and prioritized myself and said no to things that weren't for me and said yes to the things that were and let some people go from my life and invited in some new people. And I feel like a new me. I feel like I'm this empress on my throne, and I am so proud of the person that I am today. So that's what I want for you this month. Now, your choice is to decide if you're going to be committed to yourself or not. So that's what I'm going to leave you with, is leaning into that commitment energy and really surrendering to it. Because to me, if I'm committed to a goal or a dream that I have, it creates this container of safety where I'm committed to this goal. And now I get to lean into it and I get to surrender to my intuition and God, divine source, bringing me the people, circumstances, things that I need to do as I follow my intuition. I see that I'm following this path. I'm getting to where I need to go. And I feel so much safer in that container because I've made this commitment to myself. And there is nothing that can happen that can stop me from getting to where I want to be. So I hope that helps you. And I hope you see this month as an opportunity for commitment and transformation, and that we let go of any fear or worry or doubt about it not working out, because for you, everything is going to work out exactly as it needs to this month. It will all make sense. I promise you. So if the puzzle pieces are not making sense, if you feel like nothing in your life is making sense, let the chips fall and see by the end of this month where they've fallen. I promise you, you will feel so much more clarity and more centered by the end of April. So, yay. Thank you again for listening to my April forecast. And if you are desiring a deeper container of love and support, especially when it comes to your psychic and intuitive gifts, I would love to invite you to step into my Light Language Lessons mentorship, which is a 6-week fully live channeled group container where I take you through my unique Emily the Mystic process of connecting with your galactic guides, leaning into your body, clearing your channel, and opening up your gifts to bring through your own light language. It is such a beautiful process. The women who went through this container the last round didn't even know what light language was, but were so drawn to it. And they really found that their gifts started to develop and open up in really powerful and profound ways. So you can check out their testimonials on my website. I'll leave the link below in the show notes. You're going to be blown away by what happens for you when you lean into your light language journey. So I cannot wait for you to check that out. I am also hosting my next retreat, which is a full all-inclusive retreat in Asheville, North Carolina in June over the summer solstice weekend. So as this podcast gets released, if you go to the retreat section of my website, I will leave the link below in the show notes. You can read more about this incredible long weekend event where we will be connecting with the fairies, connecting with the land of Asheville, discovering the magic of Mother Nature by hiking, checking out the local waterfalls, the hot springs, and leaning into the magic and mystery of the beautiful state of North Carolina. So I can't wait to host that incredible event. So go ahead, check out the link on my website that will be below in the show notes and fill out the waitlist form so that you can get more information about this exclusive opportunity. So I hope you enjoyed this today. Enjoy April, let it flow exactly as it needs to, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Bye for now.
The portal is now closed. Thank you so much for listening. I invite you to join our community of mystics and spiritual seekers in my Emily the Mystic membership for more content, support, and fun just like this episode. You can check that out on my website, emilythemystic.com/membership. Don't forget to send this podcast episode to a friend who needs to hear it, rate the show wherever you listen to your podcasts, and follow along on my Instagram and YouTube at Emily the Mystic. Don't worry, the portal will open again soon. See you then.